MUN at home. This presentation will basically go over policy statements. So, if you've been to an MUN before, a policy statement is also known as a position paper, and this presentation will basically outline how to write one, what is it, and etc. So, one important part of a policy statement is the country stance, because it essentially your policy statement is basically a paper describing what your country thinks of the issue. So, what is a country stance? In order to find the answer to what your country stance is, make sure you think through your country's government lens. Forget your own perspective, but think as though you're looking at it from the country's perspective. Do tons of research. You know, it's exactly not at all what you think, but what your country thinks. Do tons of research, and you could use past solutions and current actions towards combating the issue in order to understand the stance. So, again, your perspective does not matter. More so, it's the country's perspective. If the country disagrees that, if the country agrees with the use of nuclear weapons, for example, but you don't, you would say that you agree with the use of nuclear weapons because that's your country's stance. So, the components of a policy statement basically, there's four components: the introduction of the issue, the past actions taken, your country stance, and what are your proposals for new solutions. And I will outline these and detail these more clearly in the coming slides. So, the introduction of the issue. So, basically, what is this? Make sure to have these 4 points. You connect how is it connected to the SDGs? Is there any indicators? How is there any targets? How exactly is it connected to this? Why is the issue important to your nation and the international community? Make sure to write about this as well as just general information about the origins, the history, and the most affected by the issue. So, like where it originated, what caused it, etc. And then obviously the general information about the main positions on the issues itself. So, like if I'm writing a position paper or policy statement on, let's say, the USSR, something about the USSR, let's say like the use of nuclear weapons. And what I would do is I would give information about political blocks. So a political bloc there would be the Soviet blocs or the major powers. I would give information about USSR and the United States if I was writing about an issue during the Cold War. So it really depends on what time period as well as what the issue is about. The second component is past actions taken. So, what are significant actions and policies that have been taken by states? In order to find this out, you could use past UN resolutions as well as agreements. You could also identify the role and actions of relevant organizations. So, let's say if I was trying to find out information about a human rights issue, I could use resources from Amnesty International, as well as another point is the international community's reactions towards past action. So, how has the community reacted? So, let's say a country such as, let's say, France, for example, it's nuclear weapons and they're pro-nuclear weapons. This is not true, but like I'm just saying they're pro-nuclear weapons. So, what is the international community's response to this? Have they deployed a nuclear weapon, and if so, what did the international community think of that? Like that. Lastly, your own nation's responses to the actions taken by the international community. So again, if I'm representing the United States and the topic at hand is France's use of nuclear weapons, what has been the United States' response to that use of nuclear weapons? So yeah, that's past actions taken. Your nation's stance. So, in order to find out your nation's stance, you could basically use conventions, UN resolutions, records, as well as official statements from your country. You could also use the alliances that they have, your country's goals and ambitions, solutions, and actions. So, it's extremely important that you identify your nation's stance because when you're debating, as well as writing a position paper, everything that you write has to match your country's perspective. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with that specific perspective, but it has to be a nation's perspective. And in order to identify this, you could use these resources, so conventions, UN resolutions, the alliances they have in regards to the issue at hand, their goals and ambitions, as well as solutions and actions. As well as the other component is the proposals for new solutions. So this is the final part of your position paper, and here what you would basically write about is differences. So you need to basically come up with new solutions to the existing issue or the issue you're writing about. So one way you could do this is, trying to find out the differences to existing solutions. So what hasn't worked within existing solutions, what has worked, and then you could create a solution based off that information. What conditions need to be there for the solution to be proved to be effective, and what are some unacceptable solutions. So you could use these points learned from previous solutions in order to write your own solutions. And yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment box, I believe. Or you could email, or I mean, sorry, you could message one of your mentors. Yeah, that's about it. And thank you.